ICRA projects higher revenue growth. Rating agency ICRA on Monday said Indian companies could post about 7 to 8% revenue growth in the March quarter of the current fiscal year, thanks to a revival in rural demand and an increase in government spending. It does expect private capital expenditure, however, to remain measured thanks to uncertainties around geopolitical developments and a relatively subdued outlook on merchandise exports. It also points out, quite correctly, that sunrise sectors such as electronics, semiconductors, and niche segments within the automotive space like electric vehicles will continue to see a scale up in investments, which it also attributes to many production-linked incentive programs announced by the Government of India. Moreover, it says the recovery in the operating profit margins for India Inc. witnessed over the past quarter is likely to be sustained at about 18.2 to 18.4% thanks to an increase in demand. ICRA's analysis is based on the performance of 602 listed companies, including financial sector entities, and that shows that 6.8% year-on-year revenue growth, supported by improved demand across consumption-oriented sectors like consumer durables, fast-moving consumer goods, retail, hotels, and airlines, while commodity sectors like iron and steel witnessed some decline following lower realizations thanks to weak global demand and cheaper imports from China, said ICRA. I reached out to Kinjal Shah, Senior Vice President and Co-Group Head Corporate Ratings at ICRA, and I began by asking her how she was seeing corporate results for the quarter ahead.
Just to give you a perspective of Q3 FY 2025, so ICRA analyzed around 602 listed entities, excluding the financial sector entities, and the sample set of the 602 companies, they witnessed a YY growth of around 6.8% in revenues during Q3 FY 25. So we're seeing that the demand momentum that we've seen in Q3 would likely continue in Q4 as well, with a certain more uptick because of the improvement in the urban demand which is expected. So Q3 did see benefit of improved rural demand and a slight uptick in government spending. Q4 expectation of the 7 to 8% YY growth is stemming more from the fact that we'll continue to see benefits of this improved rural demand and an uptick in government spending. Further, after remaining sluggish for over the last few quarters, the urban demand is also expected to improve, aided by the sizable income tax relief which has been provided in the Union Budget 2025, which typically improves the consumer sentiments. Then there is monetary easing by the RBI through the 25 bips repo rate cut. And also there are expectations of a moderation in food inflation, which would further augment the discretionary consumption. So all these together would result in the 7 to 8% revenue growth, which has been expected by ICRA.
What is the comparison? If I were to try and draw a conclusion on whether demand is picking up again, revenue growth has resumed to the levels that we saw, let's say, last year, is there anything to compare to?
So like I said, that YOY, we are anyway seeing a growth. So overall, there is an uptick in demand is what we can conclude.
Right. And if you were to look ahead, you've also said that sectors like semiconductors and electronics are seeing investments, which is true. How much of that is contributing to bottom lines or top lines of companies that you're analyzing?
See, as of now, we're seeing investments going into these sectors like electronics, semiconductors, or even within the automotive space like electric vehicles, where there are these production-linked incentives, PLI schemes, which have been announced by the Government of India. For the current year, obviously, there has not been any major benefit arising out of these because these are still in the investment phase. The overall commercialization of operations of these investments will take at least 2 to 3 years. And that's where we will see the benefits to corporate India from, say, the domestic value addition or, say, the lowering of costs vis-a-vis the imports that they are currently doing. So as of now, we wouldn't attribute much benefit to the revenues or profit margins because of these investments that are ongoing.
Between rural and urban, you're saying rural has revived and urban is also likely to see a revival because of the factors that you just mentioned. What is the stronger driver at this point and how could that be for the next quarter?
Right. So again, just stepping back, earlier last year, we'd seen that there was a lot of pressure on the rural demand because of the variant monsoons at various kinds of the years. Obviously, the government spending was also not that great. Now, in the current year, what we've seen is that the rural demand has improved. For the current calendar year, if I were to talk about H1 CY25, we expect it to remain upbeat, aided by the robust output for most kharif crops and the favorable outlook for the ongoing Rabi season. Beyond that, obviously, a normal and well-distributed monsoon season in 2025 will also be very crucial to support the agricultural outcomes and food prices. So while this will remain the key driver and the impact on the overall economic growth, what we've also seen is the slowdown in the urban demand over the last few quarters because of the curtailment on the discretionary spending. So typically this urban demand is more driven by consumer sentiments. So when sentiments are weak, the demand also reduces. So like I mentioned that because of certain positives that we've heard about recently in terms of the income tax benefits, repo rate cut, etc., that will help boost the consumer sentiments and also help fuel the urban demand.
Have you seen or are you able to compare this with any time in the past where, let's say, I don't think we've seen such a large income tax relief, but let's say you have 100,000 crores worth of tax relief and what that could potentially do? Is there some way of calculating that? Is there any historical precedent?
Difficult to directly attribute it as in how much that savings could result in a growth in demand or uptick in the revenue growth. But there is the qualitative element associated with it. So, like I said, I mean, the demand is largely driven by consumer sentiment. The fact that the middle class is going to get those kind of savings that helps boost the consumer sentiments, and then that will trigger a lot of discretionary spending as well, which has been curtailed to a large extent at this moment because of the bleak macroeconomic outcome.
If, let's say, the monsoon is good, how could this change? And if it's not, then what would happen?
As of now, I mean, it's too early to comment about how the monsoons would be, but typically what we expect during the start of the year is that there will be a normal monsoon. That's going to be the expectation. So, betting on that the monsoon will be normal, we are saying that the uptick in the rural demand, which we've seen, that would continue because that will aid the rural cash flows and the farm cash flows. But obviously, I mean, if the monsoon were not to be normal, I mean, say if the monsoons were going to be lower than the long term average, or if the monsoons were going to be disparate across states or in terms of the timeline, etc., it does cause a lot of disruptions to the crop output, and ultimately it affects the rural farm cash flows. It results in increase in food inflation when there is a scarcity of the crop output as well. So all these elements will in turn again result in higher inflationary scenario, which again leads to curtailment of the spending and so on.
Last question. So you've also said that, consumer products, retail, hotel, and airlines, and also iron and steel, for example, are under pressure because of both global and domestic reasons. What are there sectors which you feel have bucked the trend, so to speak, at least in this period?
The last quarter that we analyzed, Q3 FY25, we did see a recovery in operating profit margins for several sectors like pharmaceuticals, fertilizers, telecom, metals and mining, power and hotels. This was due to a mix of factors. I mean, for some of the sectors, it was because of improvement in demand. For some, it was because of the better product mix. And overall, for some, it was the benefits of operating leverage which played out. While for some sectors like iron, steel, shipping, textiles and tires, the YY expansion in the operating profit margin was curtailed because of higher input costs and also because of lower realizations for some of the sectors. So it's a mix that we've seen across sectors and which happens every quarter. I mean, not all sectors will follow the same positive or negative trajectory. Some will tend to gain and some will tend to lose.
Kinjal, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much.